We love to talk about the WNBA, right? But, every once in a while, the WNBA does some stories that you almost have to talk about. By the way, Caitlin Clark scored 45 points and 10 assists a few days ago. She had 5 3-pointers in a game yesterday in the first half. But this is about Sophie Cunningham. And this girl, Sophie, there's something very special about her. I want to show you 3 clips. Back to back to back. Sophie was being asked about transgender in women's sports, and she says, look, I just don't think we need to have men competing in women's sports.
A massive, unprecedented storm is brewing in professional basketball, and the league's front office is reportedly terrified because they seem to have no idea how to stop it. For decades, the script in the WNBA was simple. Follow the narrative, keep your head down, and never challenge the establishment. But now, that long-standing formula appears to have been completely shattered. When Sophie Cunningham stepped up to the microphone and addressed the heated debate surrounding men and women's sports, league executives reportedly expected her to back down. They anticipated the usual public relations apology. They expected her to retract her comments and soften her stance. Instead, she looked directly into the cameras and delivered 5 unforgettable words. I said what I said. There was no apology, no retreat, and no attempt to walk back her remarks, only unwavering confidence and defiance. According to this narrative, the fallout has been enormous for her critics. It describes a growing fan-led boycott that is allegedly hurting the league's momentum, high-profile media personalities such as Patrick Bet-David entering the discussion, and a dramatic twist involving Caitlin Clark that is presented as evidence that the players no longer need the league. Rather, the league needs them. Don't blink, because this account claims the balance of power in women's basketball has permanently shifted, and the full story is only beginning to unfold. To understand the scale of the reported panic, you have to look behind the scenes. The moment Sophie Cunningham stood firmly by her position, many critics and veteran voices reportedly expected her to be completely cancelled. They launched what the narrative describes as a coordinated wave of backlash, hoping to isolate her and pressure the WNBA into making an example of her.
Your viewpoint on that?
I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children, and that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah. Do you see your advocacy on that, taking any form going forward?
I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future it's just really...
But then something happened that the league reportedly never saw coming. Instead of turning against Sophie Cunningham, many fans turned their frustration toward the establishment. Social media quickly erupted with an overwhelming wave of support for Cunningham, with countless users praising her willingness to stand by her comments. According to this narrative, some fans even began boycotting games featuring players who publicly criticized her. It also claims that ticket sales for certain matchups slowed, while the comment sections on the league's official social media pages transformed into heated battlegrounds filled with passionate debate. The message from supporters was loud and unmistakable. They were tired of what they viewed as forced narratives, and they wanted to support players who were willing to express their opinions openly. As a result, the WNBA front office reportedly found itself in a difficult position. If league officials chose to discipline Sophie Cunningham, they risked alienating a large portion of the paying fan base that continued to support the league. According to this account, Sophie Cunningham didn't simply cross a line, she erased it. More importantly, her supporters stood firmly behind her, forming what the narrative describes as an unbreakable wall of loyalty and backing.
Rather watch college men's basketball, maybe high school men's basketball, certainly NBA. In any case, without ripping into the WNBA, Sophie Cunningham has carved out a role for herself as Caitlin Clark's protector. So she is a good player, but she's not scoring 20 points a game. But her big thing is on the court. She's not going to let Caitlin Clark get beat up because Caitlin Clark keeps getting manhandled, no pun intended, by a bunch of women. And the speculation is that it has to do with the fact that she's been given star treatment and she's white. And it's not all that speculative because some people have basically said that. Well, Sophie Cunningham has also now spoken out on some other issues, including the idea of men and women's sports. So there was an article recently with ESPN, the magazine, where the writer says this: you say she's a MAGA Barbie, as some corners of the internet have taken to calling her. projection, she says, because of what she looks like and where she's from. She'll weigh in.
If the WNBA believed it could simply sweep the controversy under the rug and wait for the news cycle to move on, this narrative argues that it badly miscalculated. According to this account, the situation evolved from a basketball dispute into a much broader cultural conversation the moment Patrick Bet-David addressed the issue publicly. When a media figure like Patrick Bet-David, known for his large audience, significant influence, and direct style, joins the discussion, the dynamics inevitably change. Rather than merely mentioning the controversy, he gave it even greater visibility by sharing it with millions of viewers. According to this narrative, Patrick Bet-David questioned what he viewed as the disproportionate backlash Sophie Cunningham received for defending what she believed was the integrity of her sport. By presenting the topic to his extensive audience, he also bypassed the traditional sports media outlets that, in this account, were attempting to manage the public narrative and limit the controversy's impact. As a result, the debate expanded well beyond the basketball community, reaching a much wider audience and intensifying the public conversation surrounding the issue.
Okay. But now we're using this as like an overarching thing when really what we're attacking women. We're saying if you look
Megan,
like
no
this
one's
as a
attacking women. No one's attacking women. If you were born with a dangling, we don't want you to compete with girls. That's all it is. And by the way, I don't have to say this. You can pause it right there because we can hear it. I don't have to say it right there. I want you to hear it from this young girl. She's the one that's being, that has the most at risk. I sent you the clip on the next one if you want to pull it up. This is the one that you want to see. Megan Rapinoe. She is siding with what Sophie has to say. So just watch this commercial, these highlights. I don't know if we can play these highlights or not. We'll play them anyways if we get a ding. This is such an important message for our young girls to protect. I got two boys.
According to this narrative, millions of people beyond the usual basketball audience are now closely following the controversy. The spotlight has grown brighter than ever, with league executives allegedly watching as independent media outlets increasingly shape the public conversation. In this account, Sophie Cunningham is no longer viewed simply as a guard for the Phoenix Mercury. Instead, she has become a symbol of standing firm in her beliefs, supported by influential media voices that refuse to let traditional outlets control the narrative. But then came the twist that, according to this story, almost no one expected, and the very development it claims has pushed the WNBA into a state of mounting concern. Critics and some league veterans reportedly believed Sophie would be left to stand alone. They assumed other star players would distance themselves from the controversy in order to protect their own reputations, endorsement opportunities, and public image. Instead, the narrative suggests that events unfolded very differently, setting the stage for an even larger debate than anyone had anticipated.
With them, the answer is she couldn't. It's not sexual, it's mechanical. Just look at the size of the male body. Just the mechanics of longer arms on a butterfly, longer arms on a backstroke. That's just all what it is, and it's just common sense. And by the way, when people bring up Title IX, it is an insult to the women that work so hard for Title IX and college athletics to give women and women's programs an opportunity at the college level. Now to use Title IX and spin it, Megan Rapinoe, looking at you, and then to say as if somehow, the Heritage Foundation, stop it. It's not fair. It's not logical. And if you went to a soccer game, you go to anything at a high school and look at men over on this side playing soccer, women swimming, it doesn't matter, Pat. So me as a father, I can see it with my own eyes as common sense. And so can everybody else. But this group is using it politically because they need it.
I agree. Adam, your thoughts?
Well, first, let me just compliment Sophie Cunningham. They're not very often do we say about an NBA player that they're going to be bigger than basketball. I don't know how long her career is going to be in the WNBA. The average professional career lasts 3 to 5 years. Something tells me this girl, this lady, Sophie Cunningham, she's going to have an afterlife, no doubt. And I'm so glad that she's on the same.
But, according to this narrative, critics overlooked one crucial detail. True competitors recognize genuine loyalty. While the media storm intensified and critics grew increasingly vocal, Caitlin Clark was widely interpreted by supporters as making her position clear, without saying a single word. Through her body language, on-court chemistry, and what some observers viewed as quiet support behind the scenes, many fans believed a powerful message had been delivered. Caitlin Clark stood by Sophie Cunningham. The narrative suggests that Clark remembered who supported her when she faced criticism and physical play from opponents around the league. By appearing to align her record-breaking star power with Sophie Cunningham, supporters interpreted the move as a significant response to their critics, According to this account, that perceived show of unity strengthened their supporters' confidence and dealt what they described as a major setback to those hoping to divide the two players.
To go after Title IX, it's just like so blatant, like let's connect these dots. It's more than just a couple of trans kids in the entire country and a couple in each state being able to participate in some youth sports.
Man, she is insufferable. Absolutely insufferable. Megan Rapinoe. Truly ridiculous. And by the way, the sort of bizarre politics of the WNBA continues. There's a piece in USA Today by a crazy columnist who says that Caitlin Clark is a flopper. Now, let's be clear about one thing that's happened in basketball, and it's happened in men's basketball, women's basketball, like all basketball. To draw fouls, people flop. It is deeply annoying. My son and I are NBA fans, and we were watching the playoffs last year and watching the sort of controversy over SGA flopping all the time was deeply irritating, obviously. Well, now apparently flopping is a white supremacist thing. According to a columnist for USA Today, it seems there is a white nationalist element to Clark's fandom that is deeply, deeply problematic. Made even more so because the WNBA is made up predominantly of black women, many of them queer. When Clark claims fouls that don't exist, she goes on profanity-laced tirades at referees. Those racists see her as a white woman in need of saving and take matters into their own hands. So first of all, she's complaining to the refs like every other player. But apparently when she does it, that means the KKK rides at dawn or something.
According to this narrative, this represents the league's worst-case scenario. It suggests that any attempt to discipline Sophie Cunningham could risk upsetting Caitlin Clark, a player widely credited with driving significant growth in television ratings, fan engagement, and league revenue. In this account, the partnership between Clark and Cunningham has become remarkably resilient. The narrative argues that the WNBA has been forced to confront a difficult reality. These two players have grown into stars whose influence extends well beyond the league itself. Rather than depending on the league for protection, the story claims that the league now depends heavily on their popularity and drawing power. As the controversy continues, the debate shows no sign of fading. According to this version of events, Sophie Cunningham looked directly at her critics, stood firmly behind her now famous statement, "I said what I said," and refused to back down. The narrative further claims that growing fan boycotts, prominent media figures such as Patrick Bet-David expanding the conversation, and what supporters perceive as Caitlin Clark's unwavering backing have fundamentally shifted the balance of influence. From this perspective, the traditional power structure within the WNBA is being challenged as never before, with supporters arguing that the league's old guard is steadily losing its grip on the conversation.
A little girl was saying that all the games, the important games that she played, she was playing against men pretending to be women, and she would have won nothing. You never would have known who this person is. Okay, and it's embarrassing as a species, as a human being, and just as a nation, that the fact that we're even debating that men should be playing in women's sports says everything about our society. Okay, it's not progress. We're not moving forward. We're going backwards. Okay, we reach a point where people are afraid. To say what Adam, and you made a good point, what every human being is saying from the beginning of time. Men are different than women. Full stop. I'm sorry. It is what it is, okay? Women's sports exist for a reason, okay? They exist because we have physical advantages, okay? It's not hate. It's not discrimination. It's reality, okay? And then, Tom, we talked about this the other day at dinner. When a society starts denying basic truths, you know something is seriously wrong. And I believe the devil, Satan himself, is laughing his hot, evil butt off, watching us argue something that should never be argued or questioned in the first place. And Tom, the Bible calls the devil what? The father of lies. And one of the greatest tricks was convincing man that he didn't exist, okay? Right? Mm-hmm. And confusion is one of the greatest weapons, bro. And we're watching it play out right in front of us. It shouldn't be a debate. We shouldn't even be talking about it, but they keep bringing it up. And scripture says this, Pat. Satan is the ruler of this world for a time, and when I look around, it's easy to see. Look what he's doing. When good is called evil, evil is called good, common sense is treated like it's extremism, okay? And people who speak the truth are the ones under attack. I'm so proud of her, Pat, and I love that you did the body language part. She knows she's going to go into battle, but she's sticking up for herself, and I love it. But the good news is Satan never wins at the end, Pat, and Jesus Christ is going to win, and the truth stops being the truth just because people vote against it, or you have purple hair angry lesbian chick mad at the world.
I'm proud of what she's doing, and it's good that the league.
Now it's your turn to join the conversation. What are your thoughts on Sophie Cunningham's decision to stand by her comments without backing down? And how do you think the league is responding to the perception that Caitlin Clark is standing alongside her? Share your honest opinions in the comments below if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and support the channel. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the latest updates, breaking stories, and basketball news. Thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next video.